Hello, beautiful souls. I am Valeria Maritza at Healing Through You. I am an infinite being of light, and so are you. How to turn your intuition, your own spiritual gifts into a coaching business. And would you want to do that? Well, today's guest, Rogelio Diaz, is going to talk just about that, about his own awakening story, his journey, how he got where he is now, and how he is taking his life into the next level by using his God given gifts and abilities to help others through his coaching business. So I am so excited to bring him over to you. I really wish that you can get a lot out of this. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and make a comment in it and share with many people as you feel that will really get a lot out of this these stories, this podcast, like the ideas that you're receiving from here. And yeah, so with that, sending you so much love and enjoy the show. Rogelio, welcome to my podcast. I am so excited to have you here telling us about your story.
Thank you for
Welcome.
having me, Valeria. Thank you.
Yay. So, Rogelio, let's just get right down to it. Tell us a little bit about how your life was before your spiritual awakening.
Yes. So before the whole awakening happened, I was living a average, mediocre, normal life. I was living with my parents. I just playing basketball, just like working, nothing exceptional, nothing like it was just regular life. And I was partying, I was going out, uh, living that that teenager life, so to speak. Like it, not a lot of meaning, not a lot of meaning, and I. It got old. It got old. There's times where I would go out 4 days a week and just like house parties and just random stuff like that with friends. And as I start as and the only thing that really gave me some kind of purpose was weightlifting, working out. Like it kept me it, it kept me a little bit connected to my spirit, right? And as time went by, I was 19, 20, 21, 22. I was going deeper into the lifting aspect and of my life. And by the I was 22, I I hit rock bottom because I felt like my life had no meaning, right? And I was starting to learn a little bit about working on yourself, or just like the um old school mindset audios and workout videos, right? They gave you some kind of motivation. But at 22, I went out. There was one night where I went out and I came home and I was drunk and I was laying in my bed, and for whatever reason, Valeria, I had the question: is this going to be the rest of my life? Drinking, doing nothing, working at a UPS, just working hard for like, like barely anything. And in that moment, wow, and it still blows my mind to this day, under the influence, right? Your spirit still comes through. I said no. I said this was not going to be it, the end all be all. And I decided in that instant that tomorrow, the next day, I was going to learn just one new thing that was going to better my life, that was going to make me better, that was going to improve me. And I stuck with it. I woke up the next day, I got the workout in, and I came home and I went on YouTube, and whatever chance, whatever synchronicity, I came across this video titled "Why I Have No Friends." And I lost all my friends at that time. It couldn't be more perfect. The universe just brought it in, divine timing, so to speak. And I'm like, all right, I got to check this out. What does this guy have to say? And spoke about very, very normal phase of the awakening journey, where you lose all your friends. People think you're crazy, right? You're trying to get to know yourself, find yourself, so to speak, and people naturally, organically fall away. And that's what I was going through. And I realized with that video, like, this is not a bad thing. Everything that's happening, even with all that, I was drinking every other day. I was like before that got up to that video, I was drinking every other day. I got why cheated on. The DUI cost me 10K. All these things had to stack up to even get to that point. I have to share that, right? And but I realized that all that was a necessity. Stacking of these negative experiences to that broke me in that time. I needed all that to go through the ego death, to go through a rebirth. I didn't even know how thankful I was going to be for all that until later. But that first video, it introduced me to personal development. It introduced me to spiritual development. And I realized that I could be more. That was my first mentor. And I learned so much. I learned so much. So that's kind of like the starting point, Valeria. Like that's really that's how I started to awaken, just through watching videos and learning.
Amazing. I love how you told the whole story about you were just living life, and you were so young too. Like, so like you're like really young when you come to that conclusion to like, is this it? Because a lot of people go past, like their 30s or even 40s when they finally stop to think, is this it? But you're like fresh out of, like school and just like, hey, is this it? Like, there's just so much partying a person can do, so to speak, right?
Yeah, yeah, seriously.
Amazing. So, okay. So oh, and the other thing that I wanted to point out that was so interesting is that you said you're under the influence and you hear this message and you know it's a message, it's like something that you need to listen to and you take action. And that is so powerful because in the spiritual community, like I've heard so much, oh, alcohol lowers your frequency, which I still believe it does. But you're like, but spirit still comes through,
Yeah,
right? So like that's super super cool to hear because some people might be seeing themselves in you and feeling like, oh, but first I need to get sober or first I need to stop partying. And
right.
what you're saying to people here is like, you don't, you just need to listen.
Yeah, yeah. No substance can overcome, I feel, your destiny or your greater purpose. Like it'll come through. I didn't even know what intuition was at that point, Valeria. Like
Mhm.
it's just it really is incredible how powerful the spirit is, the higher self. Like it doesn't matter if you're under the influence. It's gonna if it's time, it's gonna happen.
I love that. Yeah. Okay. So then you got introduced through spirituality, through videos, which I believe a lot of us are able to do that now because, I mean, 20 years ago, this was not available. I had my first spiritual awakening 20 years ago and did nothing with it because I didn't know what to do. And there wasn't this community that we have right now, which is
Mm.
amazing. You can just go on YouTube or Google and start to get some answers. So, um, once you started going down that rabbit hole through videos and finding out more about spirituality, how did you start to heal?
Yes. Well, it it took 2 years to even really build a foundation. So guys, if you're listening, have some patience with yourself because you're reprogramming yourself in so many ways, right? And there's so much unconscious stuff that comes up, and you don't even know how to handle it maybe at that point, but you're aware of it. And the way I really started to heal is when I actually started investing in myself, because I'm a big believer in intuition, but you also get messages from other people, right? And there's also stuff that there's steps and there's things that we don't know how to do, but you attract the right people, you manifest the right people to come and help you do just that. And it's like first mentor, right? I didn't know their personal development was even a thing. Like right? He put me on to so many things. And well, I realized that if I used to think personal development was a scam, I used to think investing in yourself, yeah, they're trying to rip you off, right? Like what? Like I don't need that. Until I actually took a chance and I bought a course one time, and because of that course, I got the information, and I realized that I wanted to be a trainer. I went down that path. I had my own studio. I had a business partner. I went through the whole thing for a year and a half, 12, 15-hour work days. And I mean, just through experiencing life and doing new things like that, I healed. I found more of myself. And also coaching. And this is why I'm a coach now, because I've seen the profound impact that it had on me. One session, 3 months, right? With different mentors, different coaches. And I learned so much about myself. I always tell my clients, you're having a conversation with yourself, right? Like I'm here, but you really are just talking to yourself in so many ways. And I started healing when I started investing in myself and trying new processes, trying new techniques, actually facing myself and finding my truth more than anything, Valeria. Like when I found the truth of who I was, oh, I'm not a failure. Oh, I'm not a loser. Oh, I actually can have a high sense of self worth, right? I don't need other people's validation. I don't need somebody else to come and tell me I'm good enough. When I started finding truth, I really started to heal because I started to see everything that I thought I was, and I actually wasn't. And I often ask people, like, are you truly who you pretend to be? Right? The doubt, insecurity, weakness. Like, is that really you? Or is that just a program? That's a belief that, that we're created because I don't think that's who you really are. So that's how I started healing it in a nutshell.
Wow, that's so powerful. Yeah, because wow, like it's just like a very profound message that you're giving there. It's so interesting because like mentioned before, I had my first awakening in the year 2000, but there was no internet with spirituality all over like it is now, and I didn't do anything about it. It was just something that happened or is there, and I didn't pay attention. I didn't validate it, nothing. Um, and it wasn't until I also invested in myself with a spiritual mentor who was able to show me the way, validate what I was seeing, feeling, experiencing, that I was able to finally trust, like, oh, that's something? You mean I didn't make it up? You mean that actually happened? Right? And
Yes.
that's the validity of having someone to help you because without that, like, and this is why I tell my clients, you don't have to spend 20 years wandering around trying to figure out if you're going crazy or if it's real or not. You know, you don't have to do it anymore because there's so much help out there, right?
It's so much easier with guidance.
And
So much
faster.
easier. Yes. Especially that. Especially that. Yeah, Valeria. Well said.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about your experience through healing because I feel that sharing a little bit about like your rock bottoms while you were healing, not like the before, but like as you're being mentored, as you're being guided, and like, like did you have any of like these beliefs while you were going through your mentoring stage and being guided by your coach?
Oh yeah, quite a bit. Quite a lot of frustration actually. Because sometimes, you get what you need, but it's just not ready to let some certain things go. And when I was so I'm originally from Chicago. When I was living in Chicago, I I was in a part of a 3 month program and I was learning, I was expanding, I was healing, and I was still battling alcohol. Again, I used to be an alcoholic, and it's an addiction that if you let it, I mean, I have family that it's gone too far. They lost their wife because of it, and it runs into generational trauma. It runs into genetics, right? And I remember being in that program and feeling just like such a disappointment, Lydia, because I'm healing. I'm here. I'm investing in myself in this program. I'm trying, and I still can't put down the freaking bottle. And a coach said something to me that I'll never forget. We still my friend to this day. He said, "Roy, what if it's not time for you to put it down yet?" And I was just like, "What? What do you mean? Like that's not even an option. Like I have to now." And it was that necessity that it's crazy that attachment. Like I have to give it up now, right now. And the irony of it, once I heard that and I took off so much pressure off myself, and I realized why I was drinking. Oh, I felt out of control in my life. I felt powerless in my life because I was living with my parents and I wanted to move out, right? And little things like that, like I, right, I felt weak and I needed some kind of control in my life. And through realizing that, that's healing as well. The understanding of that, and even having that mentor, that coach tell me that I took the pressure off, and little by little, I started needing it less and less. Started realizing just how much I don't need it, right? And um, that really it was really a pivotal moment, because the healing really has its own timing. And I used to take sleeping pills every night. I had a whole perfect little system where I would drink this tea to help replenish my adrenal glands, so I could feel, and I would be taking pre-workouts. It would kind of like replenish my adrenal glands so I could feel the pre-workout more in the morning. I had like all these little addictive habits, and I would have to take a sleeping pill to fall asleep. And I did that for years. And until when after I moved out, I one day I'm like, why am I still taking this? And I just dropped it. And little things that I stopped taking the tea, and all these little things that, like, it really has its own time. And if you can just bring more compassion instead of pressure when you're healing, and knowing that it's gonna happen, it's happening. I think that helped me so much. Really coming to that realization, and you know, and I've worked with an EFT practitioner, and she helped me tremendously as well with healing some deep stuff. But I think that, and last thing I'll share with that validation, so many things that was coming through. I want to say 8 months ago, I came home just tired, exhausted from the day. I was furious. I'm like, I've been trying so hard to be where I want to be, and I wanted to give up. And honestly, I did. I did that, like, for that night. I'm like, I'm done. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, what's the point? Like, I'm trying, I'm showing up, right? Like, I'm trying to share this message, and it seemed like I was getting nowhere. And I came across this video by Eric Thomas, number one motivational speaker in the world right now, and it was a TikTok. And he was sharing his story about how he lived in abandoned buildings. He left home at 16. He ate out of trash cans. Coming from that to the number one motivational speaker in the world. And that night, that story saved mine, because he was the reason that was the reason that I continued to keep trying. And that's to me, that's another way of healing as well. No?
It's the power of hearing someone else's stories of, people just like you and me. They're not like privileged or have like everything easy. Like people who like really felt things, right? Like went to their own rock bottom and then move forward. Like those are just so inspirational, and so needed. This is like the need for a community. Joe Dispenza, he puts
Mm.
all of the stories of transformations, people just like you and me, and they talk about how they got rid of their diseases every single time. And I mean, I binge on those things whenever because we all go through the same ups and downs of doubting ourselves. And it's like whenever I feel doubt, or I start feeling sorry for myself, disconnecting myself from the divine that I am, then I start going and looking at like inspirational videos. Because once you start tuning into that, whatever it is, just regular people, just like you and me, and they tell their story, then it's just like, it just gives you that fire. Like, hey, this is you too. It's not just me, it's you too. If you want it, if you want to
Mm.
continue, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want, well, what exactly?
So after you started, you went through all of that part of, awakening, and you started healing. Did you start sharing your abilities, your gifts, your coaching people right away, or was there like a gap in between?
I think many coaches, you might like you, Valeria, you would probably relate to this. Like, it's a calling that just keeps showing up and showing up and showing up. Like, it doesn't let it, like, it just resurfaces. And that's with I guess, with whatever purpose that you're meant to live, right? It's always in front of you. It's like right in front of your face, and it's like, no, I don't want it, or it's hard to see it sometimes. But even when you do see, you're like, am I enough? imposter syndrome. Can I do this? But I have guilt and I have all this stuff, right? Like it's hard for you to really see, like, yeah, this is for you. And again, I feel like so many of us struggle with this, especially in the beginning. Um, yeah, I had a lot of doubt in myself, and I felt everybody was better than me. I saw everybody was a success, right? They built something. Who am I? This kid. Like I had a failed business with the personal training studio. I'm living with my parents. I have $5,000 left to my name, but I here I am wanting to teach something that I've been studying for the last couple of years, right? Like who am I? Who am I? And this is where going back to the convo about mentors and I you hear that saying, guys, that, oh, don't wait for people to believe in you, believe in yourself first. Now, I have a little hesitation with that because sometimes you need someone to believe in you so you can start believing in yourself, right? And right, Valeria, like
Oh my gosh. When I was in my spiritual container, healing myself, there came this point with one of the other students. It wasn't even my mentor. She said, come on, we all can see what you can do. Why are you still doubting? Just get out there. And it felt like a literally kick in the butt. Like, go out there and just stop whining, pretty much. Like, am I really good? Do I really have this? Can I really, right? She's like,
oh
stop
man,
whining. Get yourself out there. And that was the kick in the pants that I needed.
love that. Yes. I hope somebody has that same moment from listening to this right now because it helps so much, right? Like wait, they're right. What am I whining for? What am I waiting for? Like, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the self-doubt because, we're conditioned for that. We're conditioned to believe that we're less than, it starts with the parents, right? The parent knows better than the child, and the teacher knows better than the student, and the boss
Yeah.
knows better than the
Hmm.
employee. And it's like, when does it stop? And then you're like always striving to please someone else instead of going within and finding who you are. Yeah, it's a huge, huge conditioning.
Yeah, and it really is. It really is. There's this that'll help people with just that. There's this book called The Prosperous Coach. I don't know if you heard of it.
No.
No, it's an old school book on coaching and sharing your gifts, really. And he talks about not bringing your worth to your coaching sessions. Your worth has nothing to do with their transformation, with you helping them, right? Because then we make it about ourselves. Oh, like, do I know enough? Can I really help people? But the fact that you're even wanting clients, that you're even booking clients, like there's something there. So don't bring your self-worth to your gifts, to what you can do, because they're separate. I I had a lot of low self-worth while I was beginning, and yet somehow I was still able to help people. I was still able to, somebody stopped smoking marijuana because of 3 sessions that we or 3 weeks that we worked together. Like it's like even with again the stuff that you're healing, like you can still help other people heal. And again, your worth has nothing to do with the change you can make.
That's so powerful, so strong because that goes right along with the imposter syndrome of like, I don't have a degree or a paper that says that I can do this. Like, like when I first started, I got Reiki certified. I'm an energy healer, and
So,
my friends were like, "Oh, get a certification." I'm like, "Why?" I'm like, because this is something you can show. It's like, all right, I believed it again, right? So I did. I never
mm,
used Reiki. I just use energy healing because that's who I am. But I did that because it was part of that conditioning of like, I need to have something to show people to prove that I'm good enough, right? That's
mm.
that's the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that I think there's a lot of people in that situation, Valeria, because they think, oh, I don't have a certification, I don't have, anything like that. And I think it's yeah, like it'll help but you also don't need it. I've invested over 35K into myself, and that's my certification. Just, like when you learn from people that are the best at what they do, that are where you want to be, that's pretty good too. And I've been able to help six-figure entrepreneurs, so it's doing something right.
Yeah, for sure. Where think I'm gonna go with this. Oh, I know. Okay, so once you started your business, uh, how did you transition from healing yourself into starting to help others and making this a business that would work for you?
Yeah, so it was not an easy transition. I I ended up, after the whole studio thing fell apart. I was I was in my room, and I came across this webinar from my, again, mentor now, uh, for, called Victor, from FTP, Full Time Purpose, and came across this old school webinar, and I joined it, and I decided to invest. It was like almost 1K out of the 5K that I had. I invested the 1K into that. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do? Like, was this a good move? Like, this is the only money I have left. And then I'm there on my knees in my room with my freaking hands, on my forehead, like, just like, was this the right move? I was second guessing this so much. And then I hear that voice, that voice of the spirit, go buy a laptop. I'm like, no, no way. I am not getting a laptop. I've already, invested this much.
Use
And
all of your savings and just trust this little voice in here.
yes, yeah, pretty much, Valeria, pretty much. So I got up, I went to Best Buy, I got a credit card, I put that on the card, and I got a laptop. And it's the same laptop that I'm using right now. This is what I got, this laptop 5 years ago. It's crazy. So I got it, and I did nothing with the course for 3 months, nothing, because there were so many internal blocks that were coming up. When you really want to heal, go make a business, go into business. You'll really see what's left to go into. But from learning from that course, from connecting with other people, networking, right? I was able to gain more confidence. I was able to really see what I wanted to do. And again, it took time. It took like 2 years for me to really dial in the fact, like, you know what? Yeah, I'm a coach. I can do this. Right. And it also took there was a moment where I reached out to a mentor, the original mentor of the video, Why I Have No Friends. I reached out to him in a Instagram message, and I told them, I'm like, this is my situation. Like, living with my parents. I still have the screenshot of that, which is crazy. Like, I'm living with my parents. I want to go share this knowledge, share this wisdom, and give back, but as a coach. But I don't know. Like, do you think I should? Like, I was seeking permission in so many ways, right? Like, do you think I should? I don't know. It's calling me, but I don't fully trust it. And I'm like, I was afraid. I was afraid to not be able to help someone, maybe on a call, or to look dumb, or like, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm lying to myself. And but again, external people, we draw them in sometimes just to give us the permission that we're really trying to give to ourselves. And he replied, guys, he replied, "Are you kidding me?" And I was like, "Oh," I'm like, "Is he mad? What, are you kidding me?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, in all caps, 3 times, "Go, go, go. Move fast, bro." And I was just, I got emotional. I was amazed that even, him, like, he told me to go. And I replied, on everything I will. And here we are, 4 years later, from that message, like, high performance coach, spiritual development speaker. And that the courses, the coaching programs, the books, the audio books, everything has helped me. More important, the experience. I gave out 30 free sessions when I first began, just helping, help, right? And it enables you to build a foundation as well. You get testimonials, you really see who you are as a coach and how you can share your gift and what really stands out to you. So the experience, the guidance, the support from again the course and the group, the people that were in the group from the course, all these things, like it was so perfectly aligned. And I help at retreat. I was helping at retreats as well. I was working inside the program, so my mentors helping them, with their clients. All this experience, I was working to learn, and that's what really gave me the confidence and realize, hey, I'm a coach. I can speak, and people pointing it out to you, like, bro, it's obvious that you have this in you. It comes to you natural, right? Maybe you can relate, Valeria. Like maybe people have told you, like,
It's
this is.
exact. It's pretty much exact because it was the same thing after my that friend kicked me in the butt uh, um, through the internet. That's exactly what I did. I put out a post and I helped like over 30 people for free. And that's when I realized that it was real. Because before, every time I had used my abilities, I would finish, it would be great, amazing, everything was great. And then they would leave. And I would say to myself, yeah, they just said that because they're my friend.
Oh.
And I would take it away from me, like, yeah, that didn't happen. Yeah, they're just playing. So I didn't believe, even though I was getting the feedback. And so it wasn't until I started offering my abilities, what I could do for free to strangers, people who had no investment in lying to me, right?
Yeah.
Right. And then when I was getting the same type of feedback, I was like, oh, this is real. And that's so it was pretty much the same as getting help, somebody to guide you, to reflect on you what you're saying that is real, that is true, what it means, and then the practice, just putting yourself out there through that fear, because that's really what it is. Let me ask you, did you grow up in any religious affiliations?
Oh yeah. Born and raised Catholic,
Me
Valeria.
too.
What do you
recovering
know?
recovering Catholic here.
Oh yeah, my mom still doesn't let it go.
Okay,
still,
awesome.
still
So
wants me
how?
to go to mass.
My gosh,
Yeah,
I have no
31 years
words.
old. 31 years old. Hey, hijo, go to mass.
Yeah, well, spirituality in a setting like that, such as a religion, does have its perks, right? I mean, like I learned all about the angels through that. I learned all about communion through that. I still do go sporadically to church once in a while because I have a son. He likes to go sometimes. And I do see spirit when people are praying. Like you can see the energy of them coming together in prayer, and you can see the energy glowing above their heads. So there's something there, but like it's been distorted, as we know, um the actual teachings, and that's the part that I feel keeps us away from loving the religion, I suppose. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, there is. I'm glad you said that too, because yeah, there is the spiritual aspect to it, and yeah, it has that's where I get stuck with it, with the distortion of the what's going on with the church. But I mean, yeah, I feel like there's so many ways to just go into spirituality, and that's like one way, and that's awesome. Like if somebody finds himself through Jesus, and it's teaching. It's like awesome. Like that was your way, right? But I couldn't agree more though with that. But yeah, I was born Catholic, and I went to church every Sunday, and I just once I started just to evolve, and I'm like, I don't know if I still want to keep going.
So how, besides your mom, how had your community, your old community, reacted to what you do now?
Well, one of my aunts thought I was in a cult from starting an online community, and that was interesting, dude. She told my mom because she saw a Facebook post, and I was starting an online community called Dark Warriors Reunite, and it was just helping people heal, coming together, and on Zoom, and it's because people can't accept what they don't understand, and they try to play something on it. They try to understand as much as possible through their lenses, through their eyes. And when I told my mom, like, we are a part of the source, and we can pray wherever we are. And she's like, no, you have to go to God's church. You have to go to God's home. There's no other place. And I'm like, I'm connected. And I'm like, I'm connected to God right now. But it's just like, it's an ever going conversation. But I think what we do, what there is that mutual knowing, is that there is God, right? There is a God, and we believe in it, and we believe in the source in one way or another. But yeah, that's what I would have to say.
Well, the way that I understand it now is that we are God. We are each individual, that collective that creates the beautiful bright light that people see during their NEDs or like going towards the light. That's us. That's our light there, creating the oneness of the divine. Who that's who we are, the creator. I
Yeah,
know.
it's hard for people to believe that, Valeria, but yeah, and that's
Yes.
why I'm hesitant, right? With because we are the source, and it's just like people sometimes have trouble, like, wow, like really me, I'm a part of that, and or I'm that. It can be so empowering to know who you truly are. But, but yeah, I couldn't agree more too.
Yeah, well, it's the whole conditioning, really. Like again, like we were talking at the beginning, the whole separation, the whole you're not good enough, the whole you don't know enough. The adults know it, the person with the degree knows it, the lab coat knows it, everybody knows it except for you, right? You insignificant little whatever,
Yeah,
right? And
all
we've grown up
sinners.
this way, especially as a Catholic. We grew up with this.
Yeah,
So the healing, it takes a lot of rewiring your brain and going back to who you truly are.
yeah, and
Yeah.
learning information like this, it really helps.
Yeah, so this is what I'm sharing because I feel that, the more that we really stand strong on the belief, on the awareness, on our remembrance that, hey, actually this is what I remember when I was a child. I mean, really, you see any child playing, they don't see race, they don't see hate, they don't see limits, right? You see little kids trying to
Mhm.
climb a fence, and the adults are like, no, gonna get hurt. Of course, yeah, some of them do. But like the child is like, I'm going, I got it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
There's no limits.
I feel like we try our whole lives to get back to that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, for
right?
sure. So tell me a little bit more about how you help people now, through your business. Actually, before that, how did you create your business? I mean, I know you told me a little bit about it already, but like, how did you um start actually doing it after that person said, go, go, go? Like, how did
Yeah.
you actually get started for the people who are at that point where like, hey, okay, I believe in me. I have these abilities. I know. Now, how do I make this something where I can help others and also bring me an exchange where I can support myself?
This is very important, especially if people are starting off, right?
Hmm.
I gave a lot of it for free. I did free workshops. I did free master classes. I did free sessions. In the beginning, nowadays people maybe offer like one free session, right? And even like I don't do free sessions anymore. But when I did, I was giving away three to each person. Each person. Well, it was one session a week for 3 weeks, right? And I one of my mentors gave me a strategy. It's like, because I was in this again, I was in this coaching program, and I still have the message to this day too. Like I don't know, just you go back in time, right? It's like, Roy, make your best content, give your best stuff away, right, for free, and just make a post on Facebook or on social media saying that you're looking for 10 people to help, and you're going to help them. You're going to give away X amount of sessions, and all you're asking in return is a testimonial. That's it. That's all you're asking back. So I did that. I said I made a post on my Facebook and in the group, in the full time purpose, in the group that I was in, and I'm like, hey guys, I'm giving away a couple free sessions. I'm helping you with X, Y, and Z. Leave a comment if you're interested. And one by one. I got a couple comments, and then I would have the people that I helped post their testimonial in the group. So every week it was stacking. It was stacking. And I have people coming to me like, bro, I've seen all these testimonials. I want to know what it feels like to work with you. Like, cause you can't, it's like in your face, constant, right? And I got that strategy. And I helped. I got, I did all those free sessions. I did again, I was doing the free workshops. And through that, people started saying, hey, I want you to coach me one-on-one. Like I want you to really continue to I was doing the one-on-ones, but like they wanted to continue it. And the first time that I was like, I was so hesitant, like, oh, how much should I charge? I don't know. Am I worthy of this? Right. And the first client I ever signed up was this like 60-year-old lady, psychic medium. And I charged her 300. That was my starting point. But again, I gave away so much. And I think giving is the opportunity. I really hope you guys remember that giving is the opportunity. And from that, I signed her up, and then I did a group coaching program, and I signed more people up, and that was for 500 a month. And it was you build your way up to that, right? But all the experience, I learned so much after every session. I had one guy just from hearing, and this it's maybe it's undervalued, but just from sharing my story. I made a YouTube video sharing my story. I put it in the in this group chat. This guy, he he bought all of I had like 5 different products at that time, just like little things like, affirmation books or audio books. And he bought all of my products, and he bought a coaching session with me. He bought my course. Yeah, he spent almost like 1,000 on me just from hearing my story. And it just goes to show,
Powerful.
guys, right? Like share your story, give as much as you can before you ask. And that's how I really got started. And after that, I built momentum, and a lot of your results speak for themselves, right? So I've had, again, these, I never even thought I would be a high performance coach, and just helping, these people heal their upper limits, their low self-worth, and embody their personal power. And once you give them a transformation after 3 months, even one session, they really change the trajectory of their life. They're going to share that with the people. And I had one person in particular, and an awesome client. He shared my stuff in this group of like 50 to 100 people. I had all these people following me, like, and there were personal trainers, and I loved, I was just the full circle moment, right? First online personal trainers, and I had all these people follow me, and I just had a huge influx of clients from word of mouth and referrals, and that's how I've been able to build.
Organic, amazing. There's something to giving your what you have for free because it's the mentality of abundance and not attachment, right? Because I
Mm,
see I see this all the time in some of my clients who are like, okay, how do I get more clients? How do I get more money? And the focus really is on that. Whereas when you just start giving it away, and I know this is different because like if you're not just starting out, if you're already in there, then it's a different issue. But when you're just starting and you're like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm giving it for free, you're getting your testimonial, so there's an exchange there. And then you keep going, and when we stop ourselves from the free flow of giving and receiving, right? It's like free, beautiful. Like I'm giving you my gift, and I'm getting so much more than just a testimonial because I'm getting confidence. I'm getting like my self worth is elevating. I'm feeling more open to even more abilities just because I'm in that space. So you get so much more, right? So abundant. But then we stop ourselves by like, okay, well, now I see these results. Let me ask for X amount of money and whatever. And we stop the flow because we stop the belief that there's not going to be enough coming in. What are your thoughts
mm.
on that?
It's definitely, it kills the momentum, right? You're going, and then you're like, oh man, maybe I'm not worthy of charging X amount, right? Maybe it's like it's like putting in that foundational work is so necessary, so you can build up to the charging, right? Again, my mentor, he told me like, give as much as you can before you ask, right? And yeah, we get our own way, the self sabotage, right? And but you also have to be careful, Valeria, because what say you've been doing it even 1 year, 2 years, and you're like, you know what? It's time for me to have that reciprocation, right? Like I've given so much, it's time. And you sometimes the low self-worth really gets in the way because I've heard people say like I want to help everybody. I don't want to charge anything, but they're struggling financially and they've been doing this for some time and they're like I just want to be love and light. I don't want to I don't want to charge ask for anything. But here's the thing, like that when you really go deeper into that, it's low self-worth. You don't feel worthy of charging X amount, right? And it all like it's really what it goes down to. So you have to find that origin and really see it for what it is. Like that's awesome. You want help, but you all at some point you have to get compensated, right? Because you're giving so much. But then there's also another extreme where I had a person I used to do discovery sales discovery calls, and a lady. It's funny for the same program that I joined, I was doing the discovery calls later on. Crazy man. Um, she was saying that she charges $30 a month for coaching, and it's once a week, and that is low self worth,
Yeah.
right? So it's like you really have to find the truth. Like, what are you really afraid of, right? And I think having something to go off. My mentor charged 500 a month when I joined his program, and I was willing to pay that. You know, like it was fair. What's fair to you? What's fair to them? And again, I started at 300 a month, right? And I think having something like that just to go off by to kind of see it'll help tremendously. But yeah, you have to be aware of if it's your low self worth coming into play, and how much have you given before you've asked?
Yeah, it's the healer's wound. I've heard this so much
Yes.
because it's like, well, I shouldn't charge for my ability because it's a gift. So if I have a gift from God or, whomever, then how can I charge? Right? That's the thing, the wound.
Yeah.
But we do need to live.
And yeah, yeah. And sometimes we overcharge, right? Like, oh, we're super abundant. Let me charge $5,000 for my first program. And but it's like you build up to that, right? Because then that's a way of self-sabotaging too, because you're charging all this amount. You haven't really got the experience yet. You haven't really put in the time yet. And it's just like, and that's also setting yourself up to fail. It's such a, and that's why having guidance helps tremendously. But it has to be something fair. It really is like something just fair to you to have that exchange. I feel like that you feel valued, and I feel that's what it comes down to. But yeah, that healer's wound is real, and I feel we all go through it at some point.
Oh, for sure. It's incredible. But yeah, I mean, and I also have other healer friends who are like, oh no, I just do it, but I don't charge. And and it's the whole part of like I'm not allowed to. I'm not worthy
Mm.
to charge for it because why what it's a gift. But what they don't see is that all the inner work, all the mentors that we hire so that we can actually develop,
Yeah.
awaken, and remember our own abilities. Like, what happened to that, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There.
Amazing.
It reminds me, lady. Just last thing on that I'll share. There was a story about Picasso. He was like in like I don't even know what time he was and what the date he was alive, but he was like in this like little let's call it a restaurant at that time, little coffee shop at that time. He was just doodling on this napkin, and it's true story. This lady walks up to him while he's sitting on the table, and he asked Picasso like how much would he charge for that painting, that doodle that you drew on the napkin? And Picasso said $20,000. And the lady's like, $20? It took you 5 minutes to draw that. What do you mean 20,000? And he says, no, madam, it took me my whole life. And I think you have to remember that your whole life, you're changing time of your life for that session, for that hour, two, whatever, you know. So just like that's valuable. You have to know that, you know, and that's what it reminds me of when you said that, Valeria. Like it, time is valuable, and you're charging for everything that you invested in yourself, for all the hours of learning, of healing, because you're sharing that.
Yeah, amazing. I love that parallel. It's so true, right? And I've seen a lot of TikToks on that with like different artists, sharing like their
Mm.
cakes and whatever, and like people complaining that it's so expensive. Like, okay, you do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Why are
Give
you
it a
coming
shot.
to me?
That's
Amazing.
funny.
All right. So how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I have a website, rogelio.diaz.com. That's ROGELIODIAZ.com. You can learn more about me there, the work that I do. And also, I have a free gift for anyone who's wanting to really increase that intuition, express themselves, guide themselves, and trust themselves through some dark nights, especially if you're going through like a dark night of the soul or just tough times right now. This is going to empower you. It's a tool, it's an audiobook. And I called it the one guide, not because I'm the one guide, because I want the listener to know that they're the one guide. And and at the end of the day, you are the one guide, right? And you can find that at rogelio.diaz.com/resources. And I think the links will be here, right, Valeria?
I put all the links underneath under the description part. So just make sure that you go into the description so you can find all of the links for Rogelio and you can get in touch with him.
Beautiful. And if you guys want to shoot me a message, Instagram would be the best way. I'm on there. I'm on there a little too much sometimes, but yeah, shoot me a message. I would love to help. Or if you have any questions, like just, yeah, reach out, bro. Like you don't have to do this by yourself. And the fact that people, if you're here, you're listening to this, it shows you that you have support, and people are, we're showing up for them in so many ways.
Amazing. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience before we go? Anything that we didn't touch on that you feel is important or that you just want to share with them?
I would have to say, just from everything that we've gone into today, Valeria, give yourself a chance. Give yourself a chance. If you want to share your gift, you want to go do something great, right? Whatever dream you have, at least give yourself a chance and go find out what you can do. Don't sign yourself off before you begin, right? Like you got to carry the self-worth with you. If you have to carry the fears with you, because you're not sure how to let them go yet, don't let that stop you. Get some momentum. Just take, and I hope this podcast, it gives them just even the momentum or the courage to just even take that next step, right? Get the course, get the laptop, get whatever you get, the book, whatever it is that is the next step for them. Like don't sign yourself off before you even start. Really, just that. I wish somebody had told me that. Like at least just go, just go. Yeah, that's what I would have to say.
Beautiful. Okay, so awesome. That's beautiful. I have really enjoyed this conversation. I hope that everyone out there who has been listening to this has received exactly what you needed. And I'm so grateful for you coming and sharing your story here.
Thank you for having me, Valeria. Yeah, yeah. It's truly been a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye bye. If you enjoyed this podcast and listening to all of these beautiful stories, then make sure you subscribe and you like, leave a comment, let us know how it's going for you. And if you're looking for additional help, check out Rogelio if that's who you really connected with, or anyone else that is out there on YouTube or books or anything that you are connecting with. Go ahead and take that step. If you're attracted to my energy, my information is here too. It's all there for you. Just take your next step if you're looking for that next place for you to step into your own awareness, awakening, your own abilities. We are all here for you. And with that, I leave you and I will see you next week. Bye bye.